we're gonna take a look at how to utilize practice mode and how I lab the matchup. So we just got done playing Buffalo, who's using Dead of Winter Sub-Zero. That's what we're gonna be taking a look at. Now, the first thing I like to do when I'm labbing a matchup is record the main thing that I was losing to. So a lot of the time, Buffalo was backdashing after doing certain things and catching me counter poking. So what I'm going to do is utilize this feature here, switching the enemy type to the record setting. So the playback trigger we're going to put on, we're going to leave it on auto because my controller doesn't have a right analog
stick. Hope someone got a shot of that.
Yo, Carl GG with the resub for 3 months. Thank you so much, brother. Always appreciate you. Always hanging out in the chat too, man. I love you. Thank you. Okay, but we are going to set block mode to all. That way, they'll just block the attacks when we record it. So, what Buffalo liked doing was the low string into micro backdash. Okay, that wasn't the right timing. So we got to make sure we time it right. So he does it so that way if I down 4, let's see. Yeah, so you guys see how that punishes me, right? Where if he does it at a certain spacing and I down 4, the reversal down 4 will immediately whiff, and he can whiff punish me, right? That's where he was getting all of his damage. Yo, Carl with the tier 2 sub, I didn't even notice. He's got the disgusted Cassie emotes. Dude, thank you so much, man. My first tier 2 sub. I appreciate it, dude. Seriously, thank you. So, the way Buffalo that's what Buffalo is doing to destroy me, right? And he knows I want to counter poke that, right? Like he knows I'm antsy to press a button, then he gets a full combo. So what do we do off that? What do we do from that? What do we do with that knowledge? So we notice he likes to go for the backdash, right? And that's so frustrating to deal with. Because like you're getting punished trying to take your turn back, right? So you gotta figure out as Johnny, what move can you use? That's where I started doing forward 3. And if you notice, that's gonna catch Sub-Zero. And then that gives Johnny a full combo, right? I also started doing forward 4. Because that covered another option, which we'll talk about. So another key thing that Buffalo did to me was we'll record in slot 2. So even though the string's minus, he still liked to jump afterwards, right? So option 2. What happens if we down 4? So we don't get hit or anything, but he gets jump pressure, right? Like we're pretty much going to have to block that unless you make a hard read on the jump. If you tried to poke especially, because like that could be very troublesome. And if you tried to forward 3, it goes right under. So this is where walking back works really well. So you want to find your option, right? So like if you walk back, you can whiff punish that. You see it was a punish. It was a true punish. So let's go back to option 1. So these are just two examples of what Buffalo is doing, right? 1 and the 2. So we noticed down 4 gets beat by this option, which is our main counter poke tool. So that makes us commit to forward 3, which he could down 2 crushing blow us as well. So forward 4 is generally the safest option to counter poke with there then, right? But he could down 1 to interrupt that. We'll get to that counter play in a second. So what did we determine was best for this? Forward 4. But the problem is, with recording slot 2, if we forward 4, he gets a jump in. Right? Like, that's his read. Well, that was the extended hitbox of the jump kick. That Brent guy, thank you so much for the follow. So what is an option? This is what I look for. I look for options that's my best chance of survival, right? So we're looking at option 1 and 2. Option 1 and 2 being the micro backdash into the whiff punish on the poke, and option... Well, no, that was option 1. Option 2 is the jump. So let's look at option 1. What can we do aside from that? So if we down 1, we're going to get hit. I mean, we could jump 2, but you might get smacked out of the air for that, or you might eat a bigger combo. That's a risk you're going to want to... You can take that risk if you think so. You know, because if he just does that mindlessly, you know, you can get big damage off of that. Which I keep dropping that for some reason. But what your best option in this would be isn't to always press a button. Because like I said, if you go for forward 4-4, he could down 1 it. Which we'll record that as well. Let's record that as well. So we're gonna do... Because he has a 6 frame down 1. Whoops, I timed that wrong. Ah, it's hard. Okay. I don't play this character. So, if you try to forward 4 or forward 3, down 1 beats that. But if... Okay, so we have this three-way thing with Johnny. You have option 1, which is going to be the counter poke bait, which Sub-Zero whiff punishes your poke. Then you have option 2, where Sub-Zero jumps, which both of those beat your poke option. And then we have option 3, where Sub-Zero does a down 1, which your poke option beats that. So it's almost like a way of rock, paper, scissors, because if he does option 1, what you can do is forward 4 to catch him walking back. Or if you want to be riskier, forward 3, you can go for a full combo. Then option 2, if you try to do a forward 3 or a forward 4, you're going to get comboed for trying to press a button. But if you poke, it's safe. You just have to probably deal with a jump mix-up. And then option 3, if you try to do a forward 4-4 or a forward 3, it's going to get beat by the poke. So your best option is to counter poke. So that all comes down to conditioning of how the Sub-Zero player deals with things. Now, looking at this, what are our best options as Johnny? Because you saw there are pros and cons to each one. Like, you know, a poke beats that, but option 1 beats a poke. Right? Like we saw option 1 beats a poke. So what's the best thing to do? Now, if you want to go for those reads, like how when I was reading Buffalo would do this, I would challenge with a forward 3-4-4 and combo and whatever we're doing. I think looking for that option that covers all 3 guesses to kind of mitigate what will happen to you is important, and that's why you lab matchups. Like right here, I think the best option would be to walk back. Because look, okay, so walking back, a slight walk back and react to their movement can go a long way, right? Walk back, oh, you see him press, back 3, whiff punish, boom, combo, make him waste his breakaway, or like Showstopper has amazing unbreakable damage. More people need to, oops. More people need to just do this. It does so much damage. Whoops, not that. Like that's 26% meter or for a bar with no breakaway. But okay, that beat option 1, right? Let's go to option 2, the jump. So you're getting annoyed because Sub-Zero keeps jumping. Walk back, boom, you can actually whiff punish the poke. You guys saw the punish thing in the corner. I'll do it again. So slight walk back. That one wasn't a punish. You gotta time it right for their landing recovery frames. So walking back beats 2 options. What about the third option? What about this third option where they mash, right? What happens here? Now, there's no guarantee you're going to get that whiff punish because that's a really fast move. But if you read it, I mean, you kind of can. Unless your reactions are just on that level. But you're probably not going to be whiff punishing with that. Which, I mean, you could definitely do it with a slightly faster button like forward 4-4. But the point is the walking back gets you out of that situation entirely. So when your back is up against the wall, I'm gonna turn off playback for a second. When your back is up against the wall and it looks like you have no options, like you're like, oh, sub can do this on block, he could do this, this, and this because of the spacing. You want to look at it in an approach like, okay, if I want to maximize my damage off of making a read, what can I do? And that's why we went over our options for all three of sub's options after that string, for example. Or you could walk back, which just completely resets the situation and even allows you to whiff punish in some cases. Now, there was one other thing that I wanted to lab that Buffalo was doing to me, and it had to do with his down 4. So we'll record this in slot 4. So he was doing like max range down 4 into that. Which, if you guys noticed, I was getting hit by a lot because I would try to forward 3 and I would get absolutely mauled for it, right? Like that was frustrating me. Like I even tried to back 3. It's because he knew I wanted to press a button. I wanted to take my turn back. So what can we do in that situation? Walk back. Walk back beats that option as well. As simple as it may sound, and it may be hard to adjust to during a match, look back in your gameplay, just simply walking back. Like, sure, you don't get to press a button right away, and maybe he doesn't press a button, but you reset neutral, and that's what's important, especially if you're playing as Johnny Cage. But like I'm saying, this doesn't just apply to Johnny. This applies to every character right now. Like, it doesn't matter if you're using Sindel. It doesn't matter if you're using Scorpion, it doesn't matter if you're using Cabal, right? Like, it's going to be the same options, just you're going to get more of a reward. Like, if you're Cabal and you walk back and whiff punish his poke, you're going to get a crushing blow with back 1-2. If you're Sindel, you have a better mid to interrupt with than Johnny's forward 4. And if you're Jackie with a 9-frame mid, you don't have to worry about Sub-Zero's down 1 mind game after his low string because you have a 9-frame mid to challenge. So that's basically how I would lab a matchup. Like, I don't need to, you can't lab Sub-Zero's forward 2, right? Like, you can practice reacting to it, but in a match situation when you're looking for so many other things, you're not going to be reacting to just that, a 19-frame overhead. It's going to be rough. You got to look for other ways in a matchup where you can try to either reset situations or get out of things, which is why, like I said, just try to take a look at your character's options. Everyone's different, like I said. So if we go back to option 3, right, where Sub-Zero does the low and Johnny doesn't have a fast enough mid to cover that, right, like Johnny has to do a down 4, but we found out that Johnny's down 4 gets beat by option 1, right? Whoops. Johnny's down 4 gets beat by option 1, but it beats option 3, right? Whereas if you're a character like Jackie, who has a 9-frame mid, your 9-frame mid will just absolutely stuff his down 1. So you don't have to worry about that. And Jackie's 9-frame mid is a forward advancing move. So it would beat option 1 as well, and probably also the jump. Because if we go and look really quick, I'm just going to use her to end this example. Just give me 1 second here. So if we go with Jackie, and I'm not using upgraded. I don't know Jackie like that. I don't know her combos and whatnot. But essentially, you look at Sub-Zero's options and apply your character's toolset. Apply your character's toolset to this type of thing. So I want you to go in the lab and do the same exact thing with Sub-Zero that I'm doing. So you're going to record slot 1, put block mode on all just so, you know, they do it on block. So we're going to do back 3, 2, 1, down 1. Or actually, I'll keep it consistent. I'll keep it consistent with how I recorded it. Okay, there's option 1. Then option 2 was back 3, 2, 1. Jump. Right? Well, I should do a jump kick. Hold on. Sorry. Okay, and then we have option 3, which is going to be back 3, 2, 1, down 1. Now, this string isn't plus, it's slightly minus, which is why it's scary. So if I try to down 1, right? If I try to down 1, option 1, I'm going to get whiff punished. And see, it happens to Jackie too. Even her godlike down 3 still gets whiff punished by Sub-Zero, right? But her poke beats option 3, just like Johnny. But here's where the things are different, right? Option 3, she has a 9-frame mid. Johnny does not have a 9-frame mid. He has a 14-frame mid. So if we block this and we immediately retaliate, and he tried to do his down 1 like he could do to Johnny, he's going to get full combo punished. Right? That's for him trying to challenge when he shouldn't. I don't know what Jackie combos are, but that's the point, right? And if we go to option 1 where he's doing that micro backdash, because Jackie's forward 3 is a forward advancing mid, he can't poke and he can't do his micro backdash PS. So Jackie catches 2 of those 3 options instead of Johnny, where he has to kind of guess or just walk back and give up his turn. Like, sure, she can walk back too, but why would you when you can challenge with that, right? And then his other option, the jump, which this is what I need to test. Yeah, she catches him out of the air with that. So you see how, like with Johnny had to give up his turn by walking back. Jackie can just do a forward 3 and beat all options on reversal, right? So that's why you want to lab your matchups, because if you only played that matchup as Johnny, oh yeah, you can play back trigger with the right stick, but my controller doesn't have a right analog stick. I'm using the Power A Fight pad. It's kind of a mimic of a Sega Saturn controller, so there's no analog sticks. So like I can't press select to restart. I have to actually use pause delay and double tap the start button. But anyways, guys, that's just an overview of how I would lab a matchup. This is why it's important if you play multiple characters to know your options against them, because some characters have tools that others don't. As you see, Jackie having a 9-frame mid eliminates a 3-way mind game that Johnny Cage has to play.